Hello, we're back at Africa Down Under once again on a very busy second day. I'm here with His Excellency Elias Munshar, High Commissioner from Zambia here in Australia. High Commissioner, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. I'm very excited to be here.
We're all very excited about this week. It's been a tremendous start to the week so far, more than 1,000 delegates. What does Africa Down Under and this conference mean for you?
I think, there isn't a forum, outside of Africa that brings, mining companies and the technology and the investors and the politicians, policymakers together. That is bigger than Africa Down Under. And so we find it to be a very, very valuable place to come together and interact with one another and look at the best practices that are going on in the mining industry in Africa. And this year has delivered on that promise. This is the second day, of course, but I think it has delivered.
It's very important as well that we have representatives from Zambia here from both yourself as High Commissioner, but also from the private sector as well, because Zambia, it feels, despite its big, deep, long history of mining, it feels almost like it's at the beginning of a new era. Do you think that's fair to say?
Oh yes, definitely. It feels like something. It's like a renewal on the promise, like a renewal on the vows. And so the good thing with having a long history in mining is that you can always draw upon that history to reinvent yourself, to renew that hope, to renew that promise. And that's exactly what has happened in the past 2 years of the New Dawn government. It is to go back on our history, draw on the lessons of the past, what worked, what did not work, in order for us to really deliver on what the world needs at the moment, which is predictability in terms of copper, and the fact that we have this resource in abundance. Then how do we actually exploit that in order to have a very sustainable future? Zambia right now has a very ambitious plan of raising our copper production from 800,000 metric tons to 3 million metric tons in 10 years. It's a very ambitious plan, and we are very happy that we are working with the government, with the private sector to deliver on that. And being here at Africa Down Under is part of that plan to ensure that we get the word across, the message across, that Zambia is open for business.
It very much seems that Zambia is open for business. We've heard news just in the last few hours that the KCN copper operations have a new ownership structure. Can you explain a little bit about that decision and what it will mean for the sector?
So from what our President Hakainde Hichilema announced when he assumed office, what he said was that mining should be done on the ground. You cannot do mining in court. And so there were lots of disputes between one of the investors, known as Vedanta, into KCM, between Vedanta and the government and ZCCM Investment Holdings. But with the coming of the new government, we felt that it was time to sit around the table and resolve any of the outstanding issues that needed resolution. It has taken us a few months, but finally the parties to this dispute sat down together, resolved this matter, and we are very excited that Vedanta is coming back to KCM with their original shareholding to see that KCM goes back to its greatest glory, to produce the copper that this world needs.
It's a very exciting story, and I'm sure there's lots of investors here at Africa Down Under that have been, their interest has been piqued by that news. Can I just finally ask you about what would your advice be to Australian investors considering making a new project investment in Zambia? How should they approach that?
First of all, they need to be reassured that in Zambia we have a very good legal framework. It's a very, very stable democracy, and the resource is there. And so we would like to see as many companies as possible come into Zambia. In fact, you don't even need to knock on the door. All you have to do is to just walk in, and there is a lot of resources available. We are there to help you explore, find your findings, and let's have business. In terms of our taxation system, it is very competitive. It's a taxation system that is going to be very attractive, not only to the investor but also to the people on the ground. It is a win-win situation, and we are looking forward to those long-term partnerships with companies here. If there is any investor that is looking at a place to invest in Africa, Zambia is it.
That's very encouraging to hear, and hopefully we see you again next year with a big delegation of Zambian government officials to attract new investors.
Definitely, there will be us from the High Commission here, there will be from the government and from the private sector. Africa Down Under is part of our plan to ensure that we put the message across and have investors come in and invest in Zambia.
Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Tom.